There's a variety of different tools that you can use to carve out the inside. These are called ribbon carving tools because these flat areas here are flat like a ribbon. This one is just a wire carving tool because this is a rounded wire. They're different sizes. This is pretty small. So this large one here would be pretty big to use. You could use it. I think I'm going to show you that on one side and I'll show you the smaller on the other. You need to hold the clay in your hand so you're supporting it. I don't recommend carving when it's on the table because then you sort of squish it out of shape. So you hold it in your hand and the carving tool gently removes the inside. You have to be very careful to make sure that the thickness here stays the same. So you don't want to carve too deep, but you do want to carve out that excess clay on the inside. Okay, if you're going to use a smaller tool like this, it's a similar thing. You just put it in your hand and use the carving tool. And this will take a few more swipes with that carving tool, but you have a little more control. And if you want to use this one, it looks like this. Now the inside, it doesn't matter what it looks like because we're never going to see that again. We want to remove the clay, but it doesn't have to look beautiful and perfect. It's okay if it has a little bit of texture in there. But it's up to you. If you want it smooth, that's all right. You just want to make sure that you don't dig too deep because we don't want to go through. All right, now we have our two sides. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to add a little clay on the inside and make a rattle. So if you take a little ball of clay and you roll it up like this, and I usually make 3 of them and make them different sizes. Small, medium, and large. Okay. Then you're going to take a little bit of newsprint and take each ball of clay and wrap it up in the newsprint. Drop it in there. The newsprint prevents that little ball of clay from sticking to the inside. Then on the other side, I'm going to ball up a little piece of newsprint and put that in there. Okay, and now we're going to put it back together. Now that we have newsprint in there, it's going to help support the clay while it's drying and while we're working with it. Okay, we're going to slip and score it together. And when you're slipping and scoring, this tool works really well. You score around the edges. Like that, or you can use a fork. Some people like to use a needle tool or this tool right here. Score around the edges, make sure all the paper is on the inside. You're going to paint slip on both sides. And usually what I like to do once I've put the slip on there is go back in and re-score to mix the slip in. Okay, now we're going to put it together, but before we do, we're going to find that mark that you made where the two sides go together. There it is. See that mark right there? So we're going to put them together. And this is a tricky part. You have to press without crushing the shape. So you're pressing and twisting around the edges. Make sure that it's connected really well. Once you've done that, you're going to take your scoring tool and scratch across that line because we want to make that line disappear. And once you've done that, you're going to smooth it out. You can use the other side of this tool for smoothing, like this. You can use your fingers for smoothing or a wooden tool, whatever works for you. I tend to like these ribs. This is called a rib, and if you hold it like this, it works really well for smoothing. And there is your hollow form. The very last thing you need to do, this is a very important part, because we just made a big air bubble in there. So that last thing was we need to poke a hole to let the air out. So we take a needle tool and just gently poke a hole all the way in, and you'll be able to feel it when it goes all the way in, and pull it out. And now when it goes in the kiln, the air can escape out of that hole. And there is your hollow form.